from the knights coming in and scraping against the wall. You take a look at this wall there, it's not. See, it's straight. They're right angles, you see that? See how sharp that is? See how rounded that is?
And that is just the height of an axle. Right there.
Axle of a wheel. Yeah. So the Crusaders walked in, they came in this way, you see? The height over here, his shoulder would have came this high because they weren't big guys. You see that? So this was the entryway coming into the city.
Carts would hit their axles.
Now, let's go outside and show you something. Take a look at the walls. The walls are not straight, they're slanted, correct? That's called, meaning that it's slippery. Also, you'll notice that this moat, there's an abundance that you have in Europe that you didn't have too much over here, which was water. In Europe, they had watered moats, correct? Here, because of the lack of water, this became a dry moat. And it turns out, through experience, that a dry moat was more defensible for a city than a wet moat. Because with a wet moat, when you have an attacking army come attack your city or your fortress in Europe, during the night they can make pontoon bridges or rafts and make an assault across the water, correct? Whereas over here, by having a dry moat, the attacking army has to climb down to climb up. So therefore, this becomes a killing field for the archers that are up here in the towers, okay? Now also, if they manage to get down here and they want to use a battering ram to try and get a solid shot on the wall, they can't because they're slanted like this and they can't get they'll keep skidding. They can't get a solid shot on the wall. That's why it's called the glacis. Another thing, this tower was up there. See that? These are archer slits. Now in those days, attacking armies, okay, there was no such thing as lefties and righties. Everybody was uniform, meaning that because of warfare and strategy, whenever they had maneuvers, they always held their shield in their left hand and they had their swords in their right hand. Everything had to be uniform, okay? Now, in developing the right angles going into the city, it means that the swordsmen running here would hold their shields in their left hand, have their swords in their right hand, which means that their whole right side is now exposed for the archers shooting down at them from the parapets. Okay? Yeah. Now again, even if you have attacking cavalry, if they manage to go across this bridge, they gotta stop for a moment and bunch up because they gotta keep turning right angles in order to get into the city. And in doing so, some guy up here on top of the tower had this big vat of boiling oil they would pour on top of the soldiers bunching up trying to get into the city. So if you have an attacking French army, you're gonna have French fries.